Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. ESG, ICO, ETH. We're going to get into that. SEC crypto reminder. You're going to need it. Update for the SEC Ripple filings. We got a few things to pay attention to over the next 24 hours or so. Ripple ranks 34. 5 Turkey banks in Russia. ISO 20022 implemented. And did Bank of China just call Ripple a commercial bank and write it down? I'm going to read it to you. U.S. Treasury blacklists a crypto service and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook for exclusive content right here. It is August 8th. 2022. Good afternoon, everybody. Bitcoin right now just under 24,000, 23,900 plus, $1,767 and change is Ethereum, and at the number 6 spot is 37 cents. And you know what? Just because we like the guy, Charles Hoskinson's Cardano is at 53 cents this morning. Take a look at the range of price. Very tight trading range this morning between 37.52 on the bottom and 38 cents on the top. We'll keep an eye on it for XRP. If you haven't done it, check out I Trust Capital. I love working with them, but I love being a customer even more. I can tell you that. I Trust Capital, TA Trader says, I can't recommend I Trust enough. If you don't have at least some of your retirement with them, you're missing out. Jared and his team are stand-up individuals, and they really are. Shout out to Blake and the whole crew over there and Daniel to go with it. I feel the same way too. I Trust Capital is the best crypto IRA on the planet. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. Don't believe me? Try it yourself. This right here from Mark Phillips. ESG, environmental, social governance policies and taxes are a problem for all proof-of-work projects. Yes, they are. Including Bitcoin and Ethereum, a move to proof-of-stake solves this for Ethereum. But the ETH 2.0 merge introduces a new ICO, unregistered securities issue. Thoughts? My thoughts are you nailed it, Mark Phillips. John Deaton says right here, remember, while we look through this next piece of information here, the SEC is now saying that the utility of the asset doesn't matter. Even if you 100% intend to only use the asset for consumption, if it can be said a reasonable person could also expect the price to increase, it is a security as far as the SEC is concerned. And, you know, this is pretty crazy to me because it's like saying you could say the same thing about jewelry if you wanted to, right? I mean, you could make this case like anywhere. The SEC is completely out of bounds. But you know what? A former SEC advisor, J.W. Verrett here, reminds Gary Gensler that there's a lawsuit coming. He says Gary Gensler claims AMP token was used for payments and is somehow a security. This erroneous suit harms AMP owners. He knows better. It's clearly not a security. He taught a class on crypto, but it's good politics. Help is coming. We will sue the SEC soon from Crypto Freedom Lab. You know, congratulations to them. We know John Deaton's already well underway to doing so himself for all XRP holders, which should be over 70,000 by now. Shout out to John Deaton and shout out to Tony Edwards for this little clip and JB the Great, because we're going to get the skinny right here from John Deaton on whether a settlement is off the table or not. Take a listen.
So this thing could still continue into next year, right? It seems like.
The case itself will, you know, unless there's a settlement, you know, unless there's a settlement where this case won't be resolved in February, absent a settlement. I think that we're looking at a summary judgment decision at the earliest March. Could be April, could be May even. But obviously, if some kind of light bulb goes off, you know, when people ask me the chances are settlement, I say right now, I don't see a settlement at all. Now, if the political pressure builds more and more, And it looks like there's a chance that Congress will pass legislation that gives the CFTC the game, right? If they say you're the referee of this game called crypto, if that happens and Gary Gensler sees that happening, then of course it might behoove him to go to Ripple and say, let's cut a deal, pay this large amount of money. I get to say that, like, I held Ripple responsible and make political, statements, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I mean, that could happen, but right now it doesn't look anywhere close to a settlement. Now that could change, if Judge Torres rules that the documents must be turned over, denies an appeal, and they go up on a mandamus, and December they lose on mandamus, and they have to turn the documents over in January or something like that, and those documents are bad for them, or they guarantee Ripple's victory, well, then why not settle? If you know you're going to lose, then you might as well take some kind of victory, right? So any of that could happen, but I know a lot of people are hoping
for a settlement sooner. But, here's the deal. First of all, shout out to Tony and John for that clip there and JV. But, one of the things I want to add to it is like, look, we also know that the SEC is strategically trying to get a summary judgment from the library case right here within the next 6 weeks. So it makes sense that the SEC wouldn't want to settle before getting that, because if they get that in their favor, they're going to run and try to take that to the judge and say, see what we did over in this case, right? And use it as a point of reference at the very least, right? So now let's very quickly look here from James K. File. And Jim, shout out to you, man, and everybody in this space for all they do, no doubt about it. But let's look very quickly here at a couple things that are coming up by today or tomorrow, I believe it is. Let me just get this out here. 1 second. It is a couple filings we want to pay attention to. One is in respect to the emails and DPP, I believe it is. And the other is in respect to, what do you call it? The attorney-client, no, here it is right here. Sorry. So this is on expert testimony must be filed. Motions to exclude expert testimony must be filed by August 9th, 2022. So that's tomorrow, right? And then there's one more thing here where the SEC objections are due on July 26th. That was for the DPP issue, deliberative process privilege or privilege process, right? For attorney-client privilege issue. The Ripple defendants have until tomorrow, August 9th, to file their response to that of the SEC's objections. So keep a lookout for those things. And coming up no later than August 16th, we should see Judge Torres is allowing the SEC to file a reply brief, which is due no later than the 16th of August. And then the matter will be fully briefed and must be decided by Judge Torres. So those are the things we have coming up on the immediate front there. Now, let's switch gears a little bit, because I just wanted to touch on the case so we don't forget these things, however big or small. Brad Garlinghouse says it's always nice to get a little third-party validation here, and it sure is. Thank you, Ripplers. He says you are what makes Ripple one of the best, and he's talking about all the Ripple employees there. We're honored, says Ripple, to be recognized by Fortune magazine in their roundup of the best places to work, coming in at number 34 in the 100 best medium workplaces. How about that? And congratulations. They are continuing to grow, an amazing team, no doubt about it. And let's see. Let's go right here, because I want to start here. This is a new piece of information segment we're into right now. James Rule just got back from London. Shout out to you, James, for all the tweets you gave us while you were over there. This one stood out to me. In London, I saw zero cash fiat transactions take place. I repeat, zero. I had to go to a bank to request souvenir coins, and everyone knew of digital assets and future CBDCs. The United States is so far behind. To speak to that and build on that point, 5 of Turkey's banks have adopted Russia's payment system that we have reported on here many, many, many times, right? So Things are changing. However, it may not look like it if you're looking at price every day. The world is shifting to these fractionalized payment zones. They want to get away from SWIFT. Dubai Chamber of Commerce creates their digital economy forums, digital asset business group. And you know that UAE and Dubai and that whole Middle Eastern area are just going crazy implementing and building infrastructure for the new digital world. They're not even messing around. ISO 20022 payment language is implemented across 70 countries. 70 countries. It's not just about compliance, underlines Anthony Walton. The standard has been implemented across 70 plus countries, yet implementation in parts of the developed world is yet to be completed. But believe me, it will be. No question it will be, because everyone in the financial world is moving to the ISO 20022 payment language standard, which then will allow access through that in an interoperable fashion, right, or compatible fashion, however you want to go about saying it, in using digital assets for settlement at some point in the future as well. Now, let's take a look at this. I covered this morning again the U.S. translation to the Bank of China document that reviewed Ripple and said Ripple needs to cooperate with SWIFT. I'm going to show that to you again real quick in case you didn't see the video from this morning. Basically, it says SWIFT is obviously an American, Western country driven organization, right, that can really set up these, sanctions and all of this. The future cross payments and the neutrality of that can be maintained. But one of the key trade-offs is Ripple is a Native American fintech company, is inevitably subject to influence of U.S. regulators. Then it says, as a commercial bank, it should be carefully considered. As a commercial bank, it should be carefully considered, considering in the absence of effective means to avoid the risk of SWIFT sanctions, whether using Ripple will step into another American trap. How about that, right? Did the Bank of China just call Ripple a commercial bank? The language in the translation is a little funny, right? But did they? This is a clip I've played before, but think about everything we've just gone over and listen to Gary Gensler at MIT talk about how a small market company cracks into gaining market share into the banking finance world. You're going to have to give something up, like 50% of ownership, or as Jamil K says right here, maybe it's even the ownership of the XRP escrow. I don't know, but let's listen.
You're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks that are now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there, and you give them the native token. So there may be other incentive ways to beat the current monopolist, But I, having been around commercial banks for a long time, they really are looking for ways to replace their aggregators in their back office, whether it's clearing, settlement, exchanges, credit agencies.
Now, that's an important point. Having been around for a long time, commercial banks, or really banks, central banks, commercial banks alike, are looking for ways to replace the back office aggregators for clearing, settlement, exchanges, and credit agencies. Ripple, XRP, and the XRP ledger, certainly the private ledger, can help solve all of those issues that were mentioned. That is not up for discussion. That is a fact. Breaking news right here. The U.S. Treasury Department has blacklisted a crypto mixer, Tornado Cash, and all of its Ethereum addresses. Barring U.S. persons from interacting with the privacy service. How about that one? Yeah, that just happened. How about that? Yeah, put a little Talladega Nights in there. OFAC. We talk about this. U.S. Treasury Department. OFAC's going to handle the foreign asset control side. FSOC's going to handle the domestic side. That's the way it's broke up. That's the way it's been. That's what we're talking about here. And that's exactly what they did here. And basically, I have said this before. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. You can't stop the tech. Yes, this is true. But you can tax it out of existence or blacklist it and essentially make it illegal to use. Don't believe it. It just came true for Tornado Cash. That's what we're talking about here. Because they actually, in this article, they go down and they talk to the Unstoppable, or the co-founder of Tornado Cash, about how it's unstoppable. Hey, we just build these things, he says, right? And, you know, the protocol was specifically designed this way to be unstoppable because it wouldn't make much sense if some third party like developers would have control of it. Yeah, I get all of that. But when OFAC tells you if you touch it, you're now going to be on a blacklist and you're going to be a person of interest to talk to, and here's the addresses. You want any of them attached to you? I don't. It's pretty simple. Specially designated nationals and blocked persons list. As a part of enforcement efforts, the OFAC publishes a list of individuals and companies owned or controlled by or acting for or on the behalf of targeted countries. It also lists individuals, groups, and entities such as terrorists, narcotic traffickers, designated under programs that are not country-specific. Collectively, such individuals and companies are called Special Designated Nationals, SDNs, which I can guarantee you none of you nor myself want to ever be on that list. Their assets are blocked, and U.S. persons are generally prohibited from dealing with them. How about that? And that's where we are on this day. Head on a swivel. This is crypto. You never know. I tell you, check all the links out underneath the video. They're great products and services I use each and every day. And there's great specials and deals. But you have to click the links to get them. I'll catch all of you on the next one.